Being Your Best You with Dr. Kier Adept and Dr. Kevin Richardson. Have you ever had a day, an hour, a moment when you knew exactly who you are, in the right place, and knowing what you need to do? Would you like to feel the power and presence of being you at your best all the time? Almost all problems around health, wealth, relationships, and purpose can be solved when you are restored to you. And Dr. Kier and Dr. Kevin are here to show you how. Dr. Kier uses Geotran human programming, human design, and activations to quickly and easily release you from the automatic patterns and inner glitches that block your healthy, wealthy, happy life. Dr. Kevin is a clinical hypnotherapist with decades of experience in releasing the subconscious fears, beliefs, and habits that cause or contribute to experiences you no longer wish to have. Dr. Kevin specializes in releasing obesity and your blocks to success. Dr. Kier and Dr. Kevin are both passionate about helping people improve their lives in person, by phone, or on Zoom. Yes, it's as easy to change your life long distance as it is in person. So, join the paradox as Dr. Kier and Dr. Kevin discuss their different approaches to clearing your subconscious and restoring you to you with speed, efficiency, and a sense of humor. It's time for Being Your Best You with Dr. Kier and Dr. Kevin. The Paradox. Welcome to the show.
This is Dr. Kier Adept, just like it says in the little thing at the bottom of the screen, and I am the chief honcho at geotran.global, which is coincidentally the name of my main website. Hooray!
Yay!
And with me is Dr. Kevin Richardson, who is a clinical hypnotherapist of many years standing with lots and lots and lots of letters after his name. And he's also available at kevinrichardsontherapy.com. And of course, we both have Gmail addresses, and you know all this already because you've been watching our program, right? Good. Okay. So Dr. Kevin has been experiencing some floods in inland California. This is like unheard of. So in fact, I had asked our wonderful producer, Angie B., if the Peanut Gallery, who's always watching, always listening, if they had any specific questions for us. So we thought maybe we would have this particular program answering some of those questions, because if they have them, probably you do too. That seemed like a reasonable approach? That work for you, Dr.
Good to me.
Okay. Well, we always like to do what the lovely Angie B likes us to do.
Yes.
Okay. So I have in the background, I have on the next screen over, I have the questions. In fact, I am going to put them in our backstage so that you can see them too. So let's just start at the top. What is muscle testing? I get that a lot. And if you go to either of my Facebook groups or my YouTube channel or my website, you will see articles and videos on this very question. But it's actually really an important one. You know, I'm in the middle, as you know, Dr. Kevin, I am in the middle of writing a book about Dorothy Espio, who is the creator of Geotran and my teacher for many years. And I have a whole chapter about the foundations of Geotran and how it works, and half a chapter on muscle testing alone. So Muscle testing has actually been around for over 100 years. Okay? So it was first devised in, I think it was 1915. And then various sort of doctors and physiotherapists worked with it more, developed it more once they got the concept. So here's how it works. You've got your gazillions of cells. I mean, it's something like 30 trillion cells in the body. And each one acts like a little tiny battery. Okay, so there's either more energy flowing through it or less energy flowing through it, or it's in a steady state. Okay? So when we're muscle testing, what we're doing is measuring on an infinitesimally small level whether you have more life force energy for a certain concept, food, drink, person, place, or thing. Yeah. So typically this is used by, actually it's used by 40% of American chiropractors use muscle testing. And so the most common way you're going to see it is somebody having their arm right out to the side. I'm going to bring mine in just so you can see it more easily because it works just as well doing it that way. I'm going to move my camera so you can maybe see a little bit more of me. Yeah, so if I'm working with someone, as you can see in some of my other videos on Facebook, I'm going to press on their elbow. And that's going to test this deltoid muscle, which is the last one to switch off of the 42 muscle groups. So there's a bunch of whole scientific stuff done about this. It's not just me making it up. The point is that if you have more life force energy going through the arm, that elbow is going to stay up. That's a yes or a strong answer. And if you have less, then it's very easy with just a light touch for that elbow to go down. Now, you will have seen that on this program, I'm not using that, mainly because it takes me out of screen. Yeah, I mean, you just can't see what I'm doing. I could do it that way, but I'm not going to. So what I teach my students is a one-handed muscle testing, and it works like this. I hope you can all see. I've got my dominant hand up. Right, so you would be doing it left-handed, Dr. Kevin. I do it right-handed. Okay. In fact, you might like to follow along with me. So I've got the thumb over the middle fingernails. Everybody see that? And I'm pushing back with that middle fingernail a little bit. So it's like a spring. Yeah. And now, as I say, if I'm teaching someone, I will just have them repeat after me. I now set my intention. That when I reach a yes answer,
my
finger springs open like this.
My fingers will spread open like this.
Yeah. And then you just take it out and practice it. I recommend supermarkets and Chinese restaurants because you're going to start with questions. Well, you're actually going to start with questions you know the answer to. Like, my name is Kevin. Well, of course, if I do it on me, I get a no answer.
Yeah.
Why don't you try, Kevin?
My name is Kevin.
Yeah. Okay, but try it with my name is Kier.
My name is Kier.
Yeah, you see? So that's a no answer. Whereas, of course, if I do it, my name is Kier, of course, it's going to open up. So you move on to questions that you don't know the answer to, but that are yes/no questions. Simple questions, unimportant questions. Please do not ask whether you should move to Texas and move in with your high school sweetheart, which I seriously had a new client ask that. I said, did you muscle check? She said, yes, I did. And I said, okay, what part of unimportant questions until you're totally comfortable with this process did you not hear? So if it's a complicated question or you're just a super beginner, you call me and I will ask the question for you because I am going to be detached about whatever the answer is for you. I mean, I'm saying this in a super caring way. I don't care. I mean, in the detachment sense. I just want you to be doing what's right for you. Right? So, yes, no answers. This is the one that I teach my students. Now, somebody else asked me, why do you snap your fingers? I'm so glad you asked me that question. Okay, so I have been using this and other forms of muscle testing for a long time. Okay. And I don't even remember the situation I was in, but about 5 years ago, I noticed somebody else doing this for their muscle testing. Now, it doesn't matter what technique you use as long as it's consistent for you. So if the point is that a yes answer means there's more life force energy going through those muscles, then if you snap your fingers and you get the sound, that's more energy. But if there's less energy going through the muscles of your fingers, then your fingers will feel sticky and you don't get a sound. Then one finger will not pass the other. So what I discovered when I started playing with that is that this is firstly easier, just as accurate, and it's much more helpful when I'm doing something like this. Yeah, because you can hear it as well as see it. So that's a yes, that's a no. That's all we're doing. It's just another muscle testing technique. So I hope that clarifies it for you. Okay, next question is really one for both of us, Dr. Kevin, which is, how do you know you're connecting with the person you need to read? Yummy question. Okay, there are 3 ways I know, but because I'm a truly nice person, I'm going to let you answer that first.
Well, to really know if we're connecting with our client, we're looking at our communication. We're looking at the pillars of communication, the verbal and the nonverbal. And then I'm also assessing the eye movement as well. So each eye movement has a very specific meaning in hypnotherapy.
Okay.
It's either they're searching for the answer, or they don't know the answer, or they're making it up.
Remembering the answer.
I'm sorry?
Remembering is another one of the eye.
Remembering the answer, yes.
Yeah.
So it depends if your eye is going to the left and looking up, or if it's going to the right, looking up, or just going sideways, either to the left or the right, or if it's looking down and going left or right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And each of those movements have specific meanings with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so by looking at body language, looking at eye motion, I can tell I'm connecting with that client.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's how I do it.
Great. That's a perfectly good way to do it.
Yeah.
Mine is slightly different. Big surprise. We operate in different ways. We actually quite, you wouldn't think so, of course, by the amount of time we spend laughing together, but we have quite different personalities and quite different modalities. So, of course, how I do it is going to be different. Okay. I have 26 years of listening in the field. Now, some bright person out there is going to say, what the heck does she mean by listening in the field? Okay. We are surrounded by energy fields. So we know about them on the physics level when we talk about electrical fields, magnetic fields, electromagnetic fields, gravity fields, electromagnetic gravity, and so on. I mean, this was actually the prime quest of Einstein's life, was the unified field theory. And in physics, there are actually 10 fields. Okay, but we're not going to go there because, hey. So what I was trained to do in Geotran was to listen in the field. Now, what might help is if you picture the field as this ocean of information, of data and energy. And people who are accustomed to looking at the ocean or swimming in the ocean, I mean the physical ocean, you'll feel the currents. You'll see some bits are lighter and some bits are darker, and you'll know what those mean just from your experience. Yeah, it's a learned skill. Well, picture a fish, or I was going to say penguin. That's not the word I was looking for. I think porpoise was the word I was looking for. or a dolphin, or a whale, or whatever, one of those things, swimming. Now, we know that they have a very immediate, visceral, sensory impression of going through the water. They, especially dolphins and porpoises and cetaceans generally, they're sending out, what you call it, sonar all the time. Yeah, and that's bouncing off the beings and the floor and the currents around them. And we humans can learn to do this in submarines. Yeah, see, we have sonar operators who, the more experience they have, the more training they have, the more they can just from the sounds, they say, oh, okay, I know what that is. You know, that's the submarine Ecuador because I recognize its plant signature, you know, or whatever. There's actually a very cute film, which a detail of it. It's called Down Periscope. It's got Kelsey Grammer. And the sonar guy is always saying things like, oh, yeah, I ran into a cute little, courting couple of whales the other day. And I sent them this message and just basic chit chat. Anyway, so what I'm doing all the time with the permission of somebody that I'm working with, because I would not want to violate somebody's field, that's what I'm listening for. Now, my backup is that I'm muscle testing all the time, right? Not, for example, when we came on today, it's not like I have to say, oh, is this definitely Dr. Kevin talking to me right now? Oh, no, it's not. Because we work on the assumption that people are 100% who they are designed to be most of the time. Okay, actually, that's quite the assumption. I work on the assumption people are not 100% who they're designed to be. But again, that's a different question. But when I sit down with somebody, the fact that they have come to me and they've asked for the kind of work that I do, same with you, I'm sure, Dr. Kevin, that gives us implicit permission to look in their field.
Yes, I do require permission.
And so I know that I am connecting with that person. Now, let's say, it does happen occasionally. Let's say someone is saying to me, can we work on my son? Well, the first thing I'll say is, do we have his permission? Chances are we don't. And if we don't, I'm not doing it because it's a violation. Not even to help the other person will I go into their field because I respect their boundaries. Now, if in a moment of illumination, the parent has actually got the permission of the other person, and I'm not just talking about parents and children, I'm talking about anybody. I mean, for example, I would not connect with Earl in the field unless I had his permission. For your cats are a different matter, I might try and connect with your cats if you ask me to.
Yeah, they're an open book.
Yeah, well, and as much as cats ever are, which is a big if.
Yeah.
Actually, it's so cute. This last weekend I was down in the Savoie area of France, where it was even hotter than it is in Vichy. So it was 32 to 35 degrees, and we're talking about 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And they have 2 cats there. And they went off looking for the skinny one. And the mother and father of the household I was visiting in were wandering all around the place saying, Attila, Attila. I went into the field. I located this cat in the field, walked in the direction that I was indicated and was feeling pulled towards. Sure enough, within 2 minutes, that cat came walking down the drive towards me and did not stop until it reached me. Yeah. Whereas when the other ones tried to pick it up, he was trying to get away and what have you. So talk to your cats in the field. Okay, but I digress, which, I'm good at. So that's how I know, is that I have a direct sensory feeling for it, direct sensory kinesthetic impression. When I'm working with someone, I'm usually working with them on Zoom or the equivalent, or sometimes in person. I can, like you, Dr. Kevin, I can see whether they're fully present or not. And I can check using my muscle testing. I can check to see what % they are who they are designed to be. So because we just had that question about muscle testing, I just want to show you a little wrinkle on it. Remember I said just a few minutes ago, so when I'm teaching people muscle testing, I send them out into the supermarket or to a Chinese restaurant, right? Or the equivalent. This is why. Because the muscle testing doesn't just work in singular questions. It has to be yes, no answers, right? But I'm working in checklists all the time. I did some work with the colleague that I was actually visiting in Savoie, and she had a list of 114 options for something she was clearing for me. And she said, okay, we need 4 of them, and I just want to hear from you which ones, right? In order of priority. So I'm actually really good with numbers in the field, and I have a lot of experience. So for 2 of them, I was able to just go there. Like number 4 was 14 on her list, and number 2 was like 86. But the other ones, I went in chunks. Okay, I knew there were 114 options. So I'm going 0 to 50, 50 to 100. Let's see, that's a yes, 50 to 100. 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 to 80. That's a yes, 70 to 80. 70 to 75, that's a yes. 70, 71, 2, 3, 4. Effectively, I'm doing the same thing as I suggest in a Chinese restaurant, which is, the average Chinese restaurant has this huge menu. I mean, how they expect anybody to choose what they want to eat is just beyond me. Okay, so here you go, a big, big, big menu. It's like, a book. And you go, okay, what is best for me to eat tonight, right now, is on this menu? Yes, no. Hopefully it's a yes, or you're going somewhere else for dinner. Okay. And you open it up and you say, and you put your other hand on each page in turn. It's on this page. It's on this page. Turn over. It's on page 3. It's on page 4. Oh, it's on page 4. Okay, it's in the left-hand column. It's in the right-hand column. See, that's why I like this particular muscle testing, because I can hear it as well as see it. Okay, it's in the right-hand column on page 4. And then I'm going to run my other hand until I get a yes. Aha, number 327. I'm having liver and bok choy tonight. I'm serious. I was actually having dinner with my teacher, Dorothy, years ago, 15, 20 years ago. She had come out to California. We were co-teaching Stems of Excellence class. And she took me out to dinner, which was very nice of her. And it had the kind of menu I really like 6 starters, 8 main courses, a couple of salads, a couple of desserts. Perfect. So she's looking at the menu. I'm looking at the menu. I've eaten there many times before. I know that I like the duck. And she's saying, I said, well, Dorothy, what is it? She says, well, I'm here to get the duck. She says, I don't like duck. I never order duck. And I said, well, the duck here is really, really good. So why don't you order the duck, and I'll order something that you do know that you like. And then if you don't like the duck, we'll just trade. So the duck duly arrived, and she tasted it and said, trade? No chance. She went through that thing like it was the best thing invented ever, ever, ever. And at the end of it, she said, well, now I can honestly say that I've ordered and eaten and enjoyed duck. So it was a new experience for her, but her field was switched on for duck, even though her brain was not. Mm-hmm. You see how this works? That's the beauty of muscle testing. It takes you up into spirit. It transcends and includes what you think, feel, believe, and desire. And you see how this works? So go out there and practice, damn it. Okay, so that's also one of the ways that I know that I'm connecting. I'll just muscle test for it. I am in the correct connection with this person. Yes, it is obedient. It is in alignment with my divine blueprint to work with this person. It's obedient for this person to work with me. It's obedient to the overall divine plan for us to work together at this time. I'll tell you, if any of those 3 is no, I don't work with them. Either they're supposed to figure it out by themselves, there's somebody else who's a better fit for them, or, as happens occasionally, I'm sorry to tell you, I'm going to get slammed. with whatever their contamination is.
Mm-hmm.
And I am not available for that. Muscle testing. Mwah. Okay, next question. As you can see, I can talk about muscle testing for a couple of hours, pretty much without drawing breath. So we'll just move on.
Yes.
Number 4, does this help with allergies? Oh, what a great question. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Because an allergy or an addiction or dyslexia, in the field, they're pretty similar. They just have slightly different signatures. Here's how they're similar. Here's the overlap. Here's the middle of the Venn diagram. They all switch off your system, right? It's like both sides of the brain can't process whatever it is. So, for instance, let's say, I have my mug here, which only has water in it. So, but let's say it had something else, something maybe, Dr. Kevin, that you like that I probably wouldn't.
Something. I like liver and onions.
Great. Actually, as it happens, so do I. So, but let's imagine, no, I've got the perfect thing. You know that I don't eat pork or shellfish. Or maybe you don't know.
Yes.
Okay, which is kind of interesting being in France, not the shellfish thing, they don't care. But, you know, almost all meat products have pork in them somewhere in France. No, that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to imagine that this mug is a prawn cocktail, a shrimp cocktail.
Oh.
Yeah, which you might like, or the listener might like, and that's totally okay.
Yeah.
If we all like the same thing, there wouldn't be enough porridge to go around.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is shrimp cocktail. I'm putting it up against me, and I'm getting a big fat no. This does not check for me. And now, everybody pay close attention. I'm going to do a nifty little bit of Geotran. Cone the fingers, right hand clockwise, over the plate, the mug, the whatever it is, 995.
995.
I just cleared that for my system. Now, lovely people, getting back to the original question. As it happens, I am actually allergic to crustaceans. That's an allergy. Now, the fact that I cleared it for me does not mean that it's still correct for me to eat the shrimp or the prawns or whatever you call them.
Mm-hmm.
But it gives you an indicator. Now, we actually have an allergy clearing, I'm pretty sure I posted in my Facebook group, Light Me Up Coaching. Go have a look. It's under the guides. But I'll just describe what it is because you'll see how easy this is. Oh, God, I love it when it's easy. Okay, what you do is you take a little bit of paper with no writing on it, right? And it wants to be white, ideally. No lines, no nothing. This happens to be the back of somebody's business card, so I would not actually use it in real life. But this is about the size of paper you need. That's perfect. Okay. And using a black pen, write down something that you are allergic to. And remember, this is not necessarily foodstuffs. When Dorothy first taught us this technique was about 15 years ago in the winter gathering in Boulder, and there's a small group, there are 4 of us women working together. We had this sudden inspiration, and we started clearing each other and ourselves for love, for relationships, for the kind of person I could be attracted to, the kind of person who could be attracted to me. Because all of us were having these difficulties with relationships because we were allergic to the energy of the person who would actually be a good fit for us. You see how this works? Okay. So here's what you do. Do you want to tell us what it is, just so we know?
Duffy's strawberry soda.
Okay, exactly. I wouldn't even know to check that. That's great. That's perfect. Okay, here's what we do. We put the piece of paper against your liver, which is on the right side. Everybody can see where that is.
Uh-huh.
Right side. All right. And we muscle test. And if you don't have somebody to muscle test for you, you use your one-handed muscle testing, right? And that is off. Everybody hear that we didn't have the clicking sound and it's just off, right? Yeah. Or if you were doing it that way as you were, it's just not going to open for you. Right? Okay, we know it's off. This body is allergic to that. Or it's reactive. Maybe allergy is not the best word, but it works for allergies. Okay. Now, I want you to tuck it in on your navel, on the midline, inside your trousers. People do try this at home. Don't try it in public. Okay. Okay, that's great. And I'm just testing for him because remember, when we're working together, I can test for him and it's off, which is what we're expecting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to show you the clearing, and you always have to check, is it right hand forward or left hand forward? And I'm just muscle testing. Right hand forward, left hand forward. So you're going to take your left hand and put it on your forehead, just like this, and the right hand at the back of your neck, sort of on the occiput. Okay? So really have your palm against that forehead there. Yeah. Yeah, more like that. That's good. Okay. And we're just going to leave it there for, I don't know, 20, 30 seconds until I feel it go. You know, because I'm listening in the field all the time. I really should have written something down myself so I could be clearing it too. We didn't have any white paper just here. Yeah, the average person's got like 18 different allergies, and maybe 2 of them or 3 of them will be food allergies. And the rest is, you know, being allergic to the IRS or something like that.
Or pollen.
Or pollen, or dust, or mice, or cockroaches, or other people's envy, or it doesn't have to be physical. That's what I'm saying. I've got a whole list, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. Okay. All right. So that's complete. I just felt it go. So I want you to pull out that bit of paper and put it back under your liver. So this is our post-test. You remember in Geotram, we always do pre-test, correction, post-test. Okay, we're just checking it there. So I want you to check it. Use your muscle testing. Yeah. He is now clear for that. If we are putting that into his field, it's not going to set off a reaction. So I encourage you to try this at home. It's actually a great way to help yourself with the muscle testing and a great way to reset your field. We do actually have another allergy clearing, but it's a little too complicated to get into. But I find this one works 95% of the time. Mm-hmm. And if you're struggling with it, get in touch with me, get in touch with Dr. Kevin. You also have allergy clearings, I think, in your toolkit, correct?
I would really have to look. I have not worked with allergies. It doesn't mean that we don't have ways of working with them using the mind-body connection.
Mm-hmm.
Because going into the subconscious controls everything. Right. So my guess is that there is. I just haven't worked with them.
Well, let me just propose a thought to you, and I could be totally wrong, but you know I'm not. You know your wonderful testimonial guy who wouldn't eat green vegetables.
Right.
What would you like to bet that he was allergic to the concept of vegetables?
Okay. Yes. I would. I could accept that. I could buy that.
So it's just a way of framing it to see how to shift it.
Right.
And I mean, I know you handled it beautifully because he went off and decided to eat vegetables, and that's great.
Right.
But sometimes it's helpful or valuable when we have a different way of describing or defining what the issue is. So to answer your question, definitely I have stuff that works with allergies, and Dr. Kevin does as well. Of course, mine are faster.
Yes, mine takes a few weeks.
Yeah. Well, it's just getting on if we get on the normal train, take the scenic route, get you there in the end. I just really like the high-speed trains we have here in Europe, but that's me. Okay. Is this a form of religion? Now, I think specifically, are we talking about specifically Geotran? Are we talking about hypnotherapy? Are we talking about some combination? Are we talking about this wonderful television show that we have this privilege of putting together? I'd go for the television show being a religion, definitely. No,
Yeah.
I'm joking. Okay. I can't speak about hypnotherapy. It does not check as a religion. I don't see how it could be a religion, but it is a question that people have asked about Geotran, because we do talk about God, we talk about spirit, we talk about the law, meaning universal law, not religious law. And in fact, I'm in the middle of writing a book about Dorothy. I think I mentioned that earlier. And so I'm looking at some of these fundamental questions. And the quick answer is no. Yeah. Religion in my book, speaking from the grandness of my PhD in esoteric studies, what I understand religion to be is a socially and culturally acceptable format for understanding God or spirit or superintelligence, or however you want to label that energy that transcends and includes humans, the way that spirit transcends and includes your psychology. I think it's a very tight analogy, actually. It's like above every. Well, let me back up a little. Dorothy always said, the glory of God is intelligence, and intelligence is truth and light. And above every glory is a higher glory, which means that above every light is a higher light, above every truth is a higher truth. And we're, as beings, we're always wishing to be in those higher levels. So one of the things I've really noticed about some of the great avatars, so obviously we're talking about Jesus Christ, we're talking about Muhammad, we're talking about the Buddha, and the prophets, if you're Jewish like me. The thing is, in every case, they are receiving information from the field at a level that the people around them don't understand. So they have to it's not that they have to find a culturally appropriate way of describing it, it's that the people listening have to find a culturally appropriate way of receiving it. Because you can only understand up to the level that you are at.
Correct.
Right? So if we have a level 4 message coming into a level 5 tribal situation, which certainly would have been the case in the Israelite tribes, it's going to come out as something that tribalism can work with. Yeah, and then people learn their way up that kind of evolutionary ladder, so to speak, from a spiritual perspective, and then they have a different understanding. So we go from Old Testament law to New Testament law, for instance. But then, in a functional society or a functional religion, there is room for continued development. So then, in the US, for instance, we have this real struggle between the liberal end of the Christian churches and the conservative end of the Christian churches. And each feels the other one is wholly mistaken and wrong and apostate on one hand or heretical on the other, or however you want to put it. Whereas people who are actually functioning at level 6 look at them and say, a plague on both your houses. This is not how I experience spirit. Well, I grew up strongly level 5, which is logical, rational, scientific. It's actually kind of a little bit of a struggle for me to couch what I'm explaining in religious terms at all, because that for me, that's not where I live. But what I've noticed about my work throughout my life is that I have a bridge energy. I'm like a translator energy. So I'm saying, hey, look, guys, here's something that I understand over here, and I get it that you don't understand it over here, but I can walk you across that bridge because I have experience at both ends of it. So, not a religion, and especially Geotran is not a religion. I mean, that's like saying to your computer, okay, I am a programming coder. I'm going to go in there, I'm going to put some codes in using your particular keyboard, and that's going to change how you function. Is that a religion? I mean, you wouldn't even ask the question, right? Okay, well, on a technical level, I'm working on your inner biocomputers. It's not a religion. It's a technique.
Right.
It's a modality. It's a practice.
I do get the question a lot.
Do you? Oh,
I
please speak to that.
The thinking is that hypnotherapy, quote unquote, takes control of the mind, which is a false narrative.
Yeah.
That's false. And so people wonder if it is against God's will to use hypnotherapy. And in my opinion, the God is wanting us to be at our fully functional selves, at our max capacity.
Oh, yeah.
And hypnotherapy helps people achieve their goals and achieve their max capacity. So hypnotherapy in and of itself is not a religion. It's a modality to achieve your highest potential. Hypnotherapy does not take control of the mind. It does not control the mind. It doesn't program the mind. So I have not read anything that implies that hypnotherapy interferes with a person's relationship with their God.
Well, that makes sense to me, but I never thought it did anyway. So good.
Well, it never crossed my mind, but I do get the question fairly often.
That is so interesting.
So, and I appreciate their asking the question, but it also demonstrates that they have limited knowledge. And so the opportunity is for me to educate them on how it does not interfere with their religion.
Right.
So,
what's coming up to my mind is, and Angie would be able to give us the citation on this.
Yeah.
Somewhere or other, it says, with everything else you're receiving, above all, get knowledge, wisdom, and understanding.
Right.
And so asking questions is great. I encourage everybody to ask questions because that's how you're going to get that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And furthermore, there is more. Every year has a particular theme. It so happens that 2023, the theme is the year of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So here we are, pumping it into you as fast as we can.
and pumping it into ourselves as fast as we can.
Oh, yeah, us too. I mean, we're not immune. Interestingly enough, Dorothy, my teacher, she actually has a doctorate in divinity. All of Geotran is based on biblical and spiritual principles. And she regards the Bible as a science book. And she was always going back and forth saying, oh, okay, so when it says that, what's our scientific correlation to that? For example, let's take fragmentation. It actually says in scripture, you need to be of one mind, single-minded. And what was brought to her attention was that test, I don't remember what it's called, but where you put a beam of light through a slot, like in a piece of wood, for instance. By the time
Oh,
it
yes,
gets
I
to
know
the
the
wall,
experience you're
it's
talking
all fragmented. Yeah. And she says, this is an example of fragmentation. It always leads to chaos and what have you. And that's why you need to be single-minded rather than double-minded. So I actually found that really fascinating, that she could see these correlations in relationships without demanding that anybody else follow religious law or religious strictures.
Mhm.
Although she did follow the ones that checked for her. See, we have universal law, which is kind of bigger and more neutral, and we cannot use universal law to beat each other up.
Right.
Yeah. So, not a religion, not even a cult. No. Because
No.
we're just teaching Geotran. We are not running our own dogma cause agenda or anything else on our clients, not if we're doing it cleanly.
And we're not controlling the mind. We're not programming the
controlling the
mind in hypnotherapy in any way.
Yeah. But it's a great question.
Yeah, it is a great question.
Yeah.
And it's a question that I respect tremendously.
Yeah.
So, and the nice part about hypnotherapy is that it respects people's beliefs.
Right. See, those beliefs are going on in the soul level, in the psychology. What I know, now, I am going to say something that's certainly going to sound religious right now. What I know is if we look at that triangle, that point-up triangle is the human organism. At the bottom is the physical, so it's everything in the sensory world. In the middle is the soul, which is the psyche, which is your psychology, which is what you think, feel, believe, and desire. And that tends to be totally cluttered up by stuff you've been exposed to or listening to all your life, basically the subconscious. And then the pointy bit, thank you. The pointy bit is spirit.
There it is.
Yeah. Okay. Now, spirit transcends and includes the soul level and the physical. We are designed so that we get those messages from spirit, and then in theory, that tells us what to think, feel, believe, and desire. And that in turn creates or attracts or is attracted to the physical. Yeah. So that spirit, now again, here I am going to speak in Christian terms for a minute. That spirit's already redeemed. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that spirit. That is the eternal part of you. That is the wine in the vessel. The vessel is your soul. The vessel is your personality. And the vessel thinks it's in charge. So when, in Christian terms, we say things like, the flesh availeth nothing, that's what we're saying. We're saying if you're stuck at that level, at the soul level, you are not going to get the excellence, the truth, the light, the glory that you are otherwise designed and equipped to experience. As much as possible, we want to get up into spirit. And how do you know when you're in spirit? I'm so glad you asked me that, because that's when you can actually be receiving in the field. That's when miracles are super easy. That's when you can ask for and receive in a very clear, simple way. That's when you get information that you go, wow, not what I would have expected, but it really feels right and it checks.
Yeah.
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 It's as simple as that. And you don't have to go to church or synagogue or mosque, or I have no idea where Buddhists go, but wherever they go, you don't have to do that in order to experience that. You just have to clear that soul level. So that's what I would say, at least in Geotran terms, not a religion. And furthermore, you don't have to demand that other people do it exactly the same way you do. Yeah. Woo. Oh, felt that one go in. Okay. I'm reading the field as we speak. Somebody needed to hear that.
Yes.
Okay, question number 6. What do all the symbols mean? Well, which symbols are we talking about? Okay, now my specialty is Geotran. I also have a practice of my own called activations. Okay, that's a Venn diagram. That's not a symbol. Take it away. Okay, that's more of a symbol. Okay, this is the point up pyramid, which is the human pyramid, and the point down pyramid, which is the God pyramid. And on a good day, when you're completely in balance in the point up pyramid and the point down pyramid, and they are in alignment with each other, they slide together and they form a Star of David. Now that's a symbol. Mm-hmm. The Star of David is a symbol of God in you and you in God. Mm-hmm. That's where we really want to be living, in that energy. Now, the symbols that we use in Geotran are really about sacred geometry. And sacred geometry is a vibration, the same way that music is a vibration. Right? So that's why the activations that, Spirit created in me and through me, are all sacred geometry, which you may have noticed this. I talk a lot. So for an auditory person like me, I'm saying to my guides, are you kidding me? There's no words here? You want me to just put sacred geometry on the screen for people? Really? Well, I guess I needed to learn something there. So I did as instructed until it checked. Right? And actually, I was talking to my colleague this last weekend, and I said, oh, by the way, I created 4 new integrations. Now, normally integrations is a word I use for Geotran work, and activations is what I use for my work. But integrations is what checked, so that's what I used. And therefore, the number 12 computer, praise gratitude computer. So I presented them actually to my colleague. Now, I don't talk to my colleagues about the stuff that comes through me much, because we're connected through Geotran, which all came through Dorothy. She didn't even do the first integration. She just looked at it. She flipped through the file and she said, oh gosh, this is just beautiful. See, she just in the field, she could tell that the chunks of Geotran, there's part of what I was using, but also I was using some symbols, would reset her to somewhere that was advantageous for her to be. Because that's the point. We are like little radios, and we are transmitting all the time. We are receiving all the time. That's why it matters who you spend the most time with. Because what is your radio set to? And when I say spend the most time with, it doesn't have to be people in the body. Like, what are you reading? What are you watching? What pictures are you taking in? I was talking to somebody the other day. Oh, it's while I was away. It was my colleague's father, and he went on this little rave about ducks at the lake. And finally I said to him, it's not that I think you're wrong, it's that those are not pictures I choose to install in my brain where I'm going to then recreate those conditions. It's all about frequency. It's all about alignment. And so if you want to change what's going on in your outer life, then you change the frequency vibration of what's going on in here. And if you think about it, that's what's happening with the laptop that's right in front of me right here, for instance. Yeah. I mean, I'm pressing the keys in a certain order, and the laptop takes that in as a sensory impression and assigns significance to the sequence. And it says, oh, okay, this sequence, I'm deciding it means this, and that means I need to change or adjust or delete that. And then if it's a Word file, then, and now we're going to send it to the printer, and then we're going to have a certain output. That's all we're doing. That is all we're doing. Well, at least that's all I'm doing. I have no idea what you're doing, Kevin. But I assume it's something similar. We're changing the interior landscape. We're changing the interior garden so that your crop is different and hopefully better. That's the problem with a lot of television and young people seeing a lot of violence, is that those are the pictures being stored up here, and those files will seek to rerun themselves. Now, I personally have never owned a television, so, I don't know. I'm sure there's lots of innocuous stuff on there too. Oh, do either of us accept? Oh, I don't. Do you accept insurance, Dr. Kevin?
Insurance doesn't cover hypnotherapy.
Yeah, they don't understand what I do either.
There is one insurance company that will reimburse for it. However, you have to be a PhD clinical psychologist or an MD psychiatrist.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that's only just one insurance company. The VA, if you are fortunate enough to get a vendor contract, they do pay for it. And but it's a catch-22. And the VA says, well, we aren't getting any requests for it, so we don't have a need.
Boy, where have we heard that?
However, there are doctors in the field that are saying, will you please see my clients, my patients for me? I say, I wish I could, but the VA. So I usually tell the doctors, run it through the VA, put the request to the VA so we can demonstrate the need, so I can get a contract.
Yeah. It's like my favorite chocolate is not being sold at Aldi anymore because it keeps not being on the shelf.
Yeah.
So therefore, clearly, it shouldn't be on the shelf. Yeah, that's because I keep buying it. That's why. And the same thing, people ask me, very understandable question. Do I take insurance? No. How can I say to an insurance company what I do? I mean, you have enough trouble understanding what I do, much less the insurance company. And what I do, there are only 40 of us in the world, so it's not like there's a certification board. Now, most of my colleagues they probably consider Geotran a side hustle. I consider being a chiropractor a side hustle. Well, many of them have some sort of certification or qualification in something else that may well be covered by insurance, but I'm not one of them. Sorry.
Well, for chiropractic education, say that 3 times real fast.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. There is a very famous college for chiropractors in Davenport, Iowa.
In Iowa. Interesting.
In Iowa. It is very interesting. One of our friends who was blind, it's been 25 years ago.
We're running out of time, so compress it, Dr. Kevin.
So he did go, and he was blind.
Great.
So
I could absolutely see a place for blind chiropractor, because that actually helps you work in the field. Because you're getting the direct energy transmission. Oh, good for him. That's great. Yeah. So Dr. Cam, who's the senior instructor in Geotran International, now I'm Geotran Global, but I've learned from Dr. Cam. He's a chiropractor. So, and a lot of the other senior people, they just have something else that they do that can give people a picture of how they can help. Whereas I'm just going straight for the jugular. Trying to explain what Geotran can do for you. What Geotran can do for you is restore you to you, so you can then create your fabulous life with health and wealth and purpose and genius and all those things that are already built in. You just need to get in alignment with them. Yay me. Yay you. And for this purpose, you'll notice that I have this magic wand, because everything helps. Ding. We are out of time again.
Oh my gosh, where does this time go?
Isn't this fun? Well, I like it.
It is fun. It is
Yeah.
fun.
So, Dr. Kira Debt, all is one word, at gmail.com. Kevin Richardson Therapy at gmail.com. We're both freely available on Facebook. We both have websites. You know all this by now. And we will talk to you soon, I feel sure.
Yes.
So thanks to our lovely producer, Angie B. Bye. See you next
Bye.
week.